Hey guys, what's up? So today we're going to be talking about my new monitor. This is kind of like a Christmas present for me. Basically, I got money in and I got this. So this is the Nixeus 24 Vue-A monitor. And this is something I've been looking forward to for a while. It is just a 1080, 144 hertz, but it has FreeSync, and I do have an AMD card. So the two go hand in hand very well. Okay, to show you guys here the packaging that this thing comes in. It's a pretty big box. The thing I was amazed is how this actually came packed. Okay, so it's pretty well protected when it comes to it. It comes in this big styrofoam block. It's like 3 layers. One layer has the monitor and the other one has the stand and stuff. This is the A model, so as you guys will see here in a second. But I just want to say, I was kind of amazed at the packaging. It just came in this box. It didn't come in anything extra, but the packaging alone is pretty good. So if you're looking to maybe take this to some lands or something, you don't have anything to carry it in, if you've got the room for the box, you could just use this and it would be well protected taking it there. Okay, just show you guys, this is the Nixeus monitor. I don't have it plugged in right now, but show you guys some of the features of it. So it is a 24-inch monitor. It's got a very matte looking screen. Everything on it's matte. Doesn't have any gloss whatsoever. So it's pretty nice. Actually, it's not true. There is some gloss in some spots, but it's very minimal. There's some right here in the cable management, and there's some in the back that you'll see real quick. But other than that, everything else is pretty, fingerprint resistant. My hand is pretty large, and as you can see, that is the size of the stand, so it is quite a big stand, so you're going to have the desk space for it, which I actually kind of found out I do not, so part of it hangs off of my desk. There is a slight rotation for the screens and go. I think it's going to run into my microphone stand here in a sec. And there you go. Okay, so that is the monitor at its current maximum height. And that is the monitor at its maximum, low level, whatever you want to call it. Okay, the tilt is kind of crazy. The thing I don't like is it's a little bit rough, so the tilt will take some force and you'll feel the monitor flex a little bit. You can actually see the thickness of the monitor right here. It's not very thick, but it's not the thinnest either. And that is the monitor with its maximum tilt down right there. This will also rotate in the landscape, so let's do that real quick. Okay, there it is in portrait mode. One thing I did notice is when it rotates, there seems to be a little defect in the metal work of the mechanism. And so the stop that stops it doesn't stop it completely flat the other way around. Matter of fact, you can kind of see, maybe, I don't know, it's pretty hard to see on camera, but this is almost rotated too far to the side. So, with a file or a Dremel or something, you could work that out and get it to work right. But it's not enough to bug me. I actually stuck a level on it, and the level still shows it's pretty dead center. So it's just, if your eye's that sensitive to it or it bugs you that much, you could do something like remove a screw or take a file to the metal stop to bring it down a little bit. Okay, so we're still in landscape. I'm just showing the I/O and stuff. On the top here, we have our DC in. It does have an external power brick. There's a audio in. It does come with the cable if you need it, so if you just want to plug this in directly to your sound card to have the built-in speakers work with it, you can do that. As you can see, we still have VGA for some reason. There is Displayport. This is what you need to use on this monitor to get FreeSync to work. There is HDMI 1.4, so it's 120 hertz only if you use this, and a dual-link DVI that is 244, but no FreeSync. Okay, so this is one of the things that clued me in on what's going on here. You can see the Nixeus name on the back. I noticed besides, I think, a WCCF tech, most of these monitors that went out were in pre-production because the backing looked a little different. This wasn't on there. Under the VESA, there was a little, I don't know, cutout or imprint on the plastic mold that's not on the final product. And it led me to come to some conclusions about the final retail version of this monitor. Okay, these are no particular order at all, but they're just written down for me to remember, basically. One I will say right now, the monitor does come included with speakers. It is, however, pretty terrible sounding. I would not recommend the speakers at all. The nice thing is, with FreeSync compared to G-Sync, you can't pass digital audio through Displayport, however you can on FreeSync. So if for some reason you need to use these built-in speakers, you don't have to include like an extra or plug in an extra audio cable, just do it through Displayport. Let's see. FreeSync is cheaper. That's basically, I paid $230 for this monitor, and it's a pretty good price. As a matter of fact, when this was on sale, the buy one of the fancier VESA mount stand was cheaper than the buy the one with the cheap little plastic stand underneath of it. So there's that. Some of the eye strain features it has, or to eliminate eye strain. So it has, for backlighting, instead of using pulse wave modulation or PWM, it's got a direct current DC, and so there's no flicker to the backlights. So if you get fatigue easy, and I do with backlight flicker, I've noticed before, that is a good feature to have. Another thing is it has a low light Blu-ray filter control. So basically, if you've ever messed with flux, it has that built into the panel. I'll show you guys that here in a second, but actually I'll just show that to you here. What am I talking about? Okay, I was just editing and I just remembered I forgot to shoot this part. So just to show you guys here, there's the buttons underneath. The buttons actually have a pretty good click to them, but they're not as intuitive as like the joysticks that you guys have seen on other stuff. Like this one has the joystick on it. But I'll show you guys, like here, if I click this, it has like a real time, how many hertz it's refreshing at. And if I keep clicking it, and so you can see the color tone changes. So it does do sort of the flux thing on the monitor itself, which is pretty cool. So for a TN panel, it has pretty good viewing angles to it. It's not great, you still get color wash back and forth. The other thing I noticed, and I noticed this in Jay's review of the one that he had, I have to absolutely agree. Every single monitor, I have other monitor, basically all my monitor technologies are as follows. This one over here is a VA. This new one is TN. This one is Samsung PLS or IPS. These two I can see backlight bleed real bad, like where you see like a little thing on the edge of the screen or whatnot because of edge LED technology. This one I can't tell. Matter of fact, if I move my head like this, like the shift is pretty much uniform across the entire panel, and that's pretty nuts. I don't know how they did it. That's weird. Okay. One of the things about the panel when you took it out of the box is the panel itself feels very solid. Like the panel feels nice. Matter of fact, from some of the review units I saw, like PC Per and what was it, Hardware Canucks maybe, somebody else. But anyways, I noticed like the panel compared to what I got didn't seem final. You can see on the back there's like a Nixeus like glossy kind of logo that wasn't there. Some of the plastic seems a little bit better and stuff. There's a couple other things I noticed here and there. The VESA mount stand that comes with it is really solid. It's really solid metal, plastics, whatnot. However, the track on it seems to catch really easily, and you have to press a button to release it, to raise it up and down, but sometimes it just doesn't want to come down unless you it seems like if you're pushing down on it, it goes to a certain angle and doesn't want to come, move along the track for whatever reason. So there is that to consider. The PS, the little power supply it came with it does have an external power supply, and it came with a DisplayPort. Both of those felt really, really cheap. Okay, this is pretty much everything else that came in the box. It came with a small 4-foot display cable, as you can see here. The cable seems decent. They all kind of share the same problem. It kind of reminded me of like getting a cheap Korean monitor in some ways. The fact that the cabling was like pretty stiff and felt a little cheap. The actual wall plug, this plug I have no complaints with. It's pretty much the same as you would see from any other wall plug. The power, I guess the barrel connector and power supply, you can just tell by the look of it and by all the crazy Chinese writing on the back. It is a rather cheap looking little 40-watt power supply. The panel itself had no dead pixels. I went through all the color filters, blacks, whites, red, blues, all that stuff. Couldn't find any issues with dead pixels, stuck pixels, anything like that on this particular monitor, so that was pretty good. The warranty itself is 30 days only, but you go to Nixeus site and the registration is stupid easy. They don't even ask for like serial number or proof of purchase. They just want you to basically put your name in, your address, boom, and then all of a sudden you got a 3-year warranty on your device. Now the thing that the monitor is mainly built for is gaming. So let's talk about the performance of it overall. The color of the monitor, it's a TN. It's going to be washed out if you're used to like an IPS or something like that. So it's not going to be as clear as you would, be, or not clear, but not as vibrant as you'd be used to or whatnot. The colors, so I tried PC Per's color calibration. I don't know if it's because they had a pre-production model or whatnot, but the gamma was like way overset. Even like when I tried the normal Windows color calibration thing with my own eyes, I could tell like that little dot squiggly thing that they have, it was not calibrated for the display. I ended up getting pretty well. So what I ended up doing, since I'm partially colorblind anyways, is I just went in and I set my pixel performance to sRGB, set the thing to sRGB, and I'm fine with it. It works for me. Okay, so the other thing was gaming. So how's FreeSync work? It's hit and miss. When it works, it's wonderful. Playing games like Titanfall 2, Battlefield, Mad Max, let's see what else have I been playing, Overwatch. All those games work great, and the FreeSync it's like having it. So here's my thing. I've tried to put it in the best words possible, and it's just one of those things you really can't understand until you see it. So when you turn VSync off on your screen and you think it's smooth, there's something about, even compared to VSync off, that it seems smoother with a variable refresh rate monitor like this. This is one of the reasons I wanted to get this, because I had experienced this at LANs and stuff before. And I don't have any different opinions on that. However, I didn't have, the first-hand experience, just a couple of playthroughs here and there. So after having it for over a week now, I can tell you there's some weird stuff going on. So right now I'm currently on driver, what driver is this? 16.12.2 as of this video being shot. Is one of the earliest drivers with Relive. For some reason, 2 games, H1Z1 and Rainbow Six Siege, do not work in FreeSync. The monitor just stays static at 144. You want the FreeSync option turned on. So I thought, that's weird, like what would cause that? I thought maybe it had something to do with H1Z1 being early access, but I didn't understand Rainbow Six. And I don't know what causes it to kick in exactly either. I know it's at the driver level, that's all I know. So I decided to go ahead and roll back to 16.9.2 to see what's going on. And sure enough, FreeSync worked fine in Rainbow Six Siege, and it worked fine in H1Z1. But I noticed if I watched YouTube videos in that driver, it seemed like it was too aggressive. And when I would full screen YouTube videos, and really bright white areas like Kyle's current PC Master Race video thing that he has up, there's a lot of white. And if you watch that, you can see like this flicker going on. And it looks like almost like a backlight flicker. And I was thinking, that's strange. This thing's not supposed to have any backlight flicker. And there's an area on the monitor where you can go in and see the actual output frames per second on it in real time. Okay, and here's the FreeSync demo that you guys are probably you've seen before. So there's not much I can show you here. I just wanted to show you this. As you can see, the monitor right now says it's doing 144. If I go up here and click on FreeSync on, now you can see it's staying at 50 like the thing is. So we can do this FPS sweep and it'll bring the frame rate up and down. You can see the real-time frame rate right there, what they call instant frame rate. And over here, if we bring it back up, you can see it's going back up and down in range. And it was kicking in. It was trying to FreeSync the video, which it shouldn't. So then I went ahead and stepped back up to the highest driver, the current driver, 1612, and it doesn't kick on FreeSync during YouTube, but some games it doesn't either. So it seems to be kind of strange. The technology doesn't work, and most certainly what I noticed is I would get that flicker effect with, they said like borderless window is supposed to work now in FreeSync. At least with this monitor, it would flicker quite a bit. And I don't think that's a problem with Nixeus's monitor as more as it is with the AMD driver, saying that what happens changes based on the driver. So that's something to think about. But for most stuff, it tends to work. Those are the only AAA games I could find, or what I would call AAA games I could find that would do that. Other than that, for indie games and stuff, most of the time I could max out the monitor's refresh rate anyways, so I could just turn FreeSync off in the driver relatively easy and then just use regular VSync, and it's fine. So speaking of video stuff, on the current driver, like I said, there's no problems. To make sure everything was cool, I went through and watched Netflix. Went and watched quite a few YouTube videos in full screen, and I went and found some adult content. Okay, all kidding aside though, the monitor seems pretty solid. I'm pretty happy with it. Seems like everything I've seen, Nixeus has been standing behind their product and pretty much on top of RMAs and all this stuff. For a relatively new company that came out in 2009, I think they did a solid job, and I think this is a pretty good monitor. One other thing I almost forgot to mention, this monitor actually has Overdrive working in FreeSync. Something I didn't really think about, but most monitors, if you don't know what Overdrive is, it's to help prevent ghosting of the pixels, you know, sort of like that streak or whatever effect you want to call it. Most people just call it ghosting. So it tells the panel to kind of like more aggressively refresh, I guess, or something like that. But it works, and I just leave it on the medium setting, and it seems to work pretty well. So, but yeah, that is something about this monitor, that Overdrive does work with FreeSync on. Okay, so guys, if you like the video, give a thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you think. Leave your comments down below if you have any further questions about the monitor, or maybe you felt I left something out or whatnot. And be sure to hit me up on Twitter at Cell Processing. If you like VidMe, make sure you check that out over there. Just check out the service. Let me know what you think in the comments of that too. That seems like a pretty interesting competitor to YouTube, or at least trying to be. And for streams like the Final Savecast, typically on Sundays at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that is over on twitch.tv/cellprocessing. Alright guys, later.